I think it's safe to say that the 2026 season for your Colorado Rockies didn't go as planned. We didn't play like we should have played. After winning 95 games in 2025, to say that we took a step back in 2026 is an understatement. Now, that doesn't mean it was all bad, but it definitely wasn't where we need to be. And I made a promise to invest into this team. And by the end of this video, you could let me know in the comments if I did a good job investing in this team or not. So, if you want more Colorado Rockies franchise, be sure to follow me here and on Twitter at JustMrLove. It would be nice to have you guys as we're going to get started on a new season. Saturday night will be opening day. So, with that being said, let's look into what changes are coming to your Rockies for 2027. We're going to start here. The GM goals, and as you can see right here, the record hasn't been great. I don't think I've done a sufficient job with this team. 2023, 58 games, 69 games, nice. In 24, random playoff appearance in 2025, in which we just got swept out by the Phillies in the wild card series. And then 26, we took a step back. We came close, but close doesn't cut it. So with that being said, let's go take a look at some trades first before we hit the roster breakdown. So take it away, trade screen. All right, thanks, past me. Way to go for saying we'll see you on the trade screen when it's actually a transaction screen. It's really late. So we did make some trades in the offseason. They were both fair trades. They both fit in the parameters of my guidelines that I hold to pretty strictly. So let me go over these two trades real quick with you guys. First, in December, we called up the Angels. They were needing a second baseman to back up Bryce Stott. And so we sent them Gleyber Torres. They were interested in Gleyber Torres. We put them on the trade block. They were the number one team interested in Torres. So in return, we got Aaron Ashby and a center field prospect named Cyrus Sharp. We'll take a gander at him later on. Not much to look at, to be honest with you. And then in late February, we made one more trade. This was mostly to shore up the organization. We were pretty short on some pitchers. So we look at the Brewers, and they're wanting a starter. Ron Rollison was out of options, and I figured that, since he wasn't really going to make the team and he was out of options, he was probably going to get, we were going to put him on waivers. There was probably going to be a team that claimed him. So why do that when we could just trade him? So we ring up the Brewers. Ring, ring. Hey, Milwaukee, you need a starter maybe for the back end of your rotation? You do. Well, I have someone very interesting for you. We talked on the phone. I sent him the pitch, and they agreed to send us 3 starting pitching prospects for him. All of them, I think 2 of them are B potentials, one of them is a C potential. But Ron Rollison really just didn't have a fit in our organization, and you're really about to see why he did not have a fit in this organization. So there's the trades. You guys can let me know down below what you think of these trades. With that being said, here's what you clicked on the video for, right? You didn't click on it to see my pretty face. If you did, thank you, but it's not pretty. Let's go look at this team who will hopefully be prettier. Take it away, next stage me in the roster screen this time. Yeah, the roster screen. Here you go. So let's just end the spoilers, shall we? I invested heavy into pitching. Heavy into pitching for this team. So let's look at the rotation that we're going to be going with going into 2027. Big shock. We went out and got Trevor Rogers. He was the number 2 starter on the market, with Tariq Skubal being the number 1 starter on the market. Skubal was wanting $25 million a year, and Rogers was wanting 20. And I think his numbers looked a lot better than Skubal's. And at 29 years old, he's still got some room to grow, as he just now hit a 90 overall. As a matter of fact, I think he hit that at spring training because he was an 89. So Trevor Rogers is going to be a nice complementary ace to our other current ace that we have, Max Fried, who is back. He had a great year last year. He even had a great year beforehand. So I'm not really too concerned about Max Fried. overall doesn't seem to be dropping. I totally expect the 1-2 combo punch of Max Fried and Trevor Rogers to help add some solidity to this front end rotation here. And then Jesus Luzardo, we gave him a nice big contract, gave him a 3-year deal. There were actually some other teams that wanted Jesus Luzardo, including the Dodgers. So the Dodgers wanted Luzardo. We weren't going to let that happen. I was prepared to give him money to stay with us. He is exactly what we need for a middle rotation kind of guy. And I honestly think Luzardo has some room to grow. And at 29 years old, 3-year contract, we're going to find out what he's more than capable of doing. He had a solid year last year. Almost had the no-hitter in one of the best episodes, I think, that we've put together for this Rockies franchise. I forget what episode number that was, but you could probably find it by the title. The Luzar no-no or whatever it was I called it. But anyway, 3-year deal for Luzardo. He's back. And of course, Alfredo De La Cruz and Darius Saunders, they're back as the back end of the rotation to hopefully, these guys are also going to grow this year, but they had some bad seasons last year compared to what they were capable of doing, each one taking a step back. We need them to take 2 steps forward to make this rotation complete. And I honestly think they will. Okay, and then of course Connor Seabold, he's been probably the most consistent pitcher we've had in this series, as we've had him since the beginning. Had a good season last year, only 39 games, but 7-3, 3.77 ERA, 103 strikeouts, and 107 innings. He's been a great middle relief guy. No reason to change that. We kept him, of course. Now we're gonna go to the bullpen, and this. I said in I don't know what episode it was. It was 2 episodes ago, 3 episodes ago. I said I was going to overhaul this bullpen. And I meant every single word of it. So let's take a look at the new overhauled bullpen for your Colorado Rockies. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. We're going to start off hot and heavy, all right? Garrett Crochet, the #1 reliever on the market. We had to bid out 4 other teams. There was a lot of teams going for him, of course, including the White Sox who wanted him back. We paid him a hefty bit. We gave him a 5-year contract, all right? But he's 27 years old. He's an A potential. He's got plenty of room to grow. We don't really have that dominant bullpen piece in our farm system. It made all the sense in the world to go get Garrett Crochet. I'm still trying to figure out if I'm going to make him my closer or not. But regardless, Garrett Crochet is now a Rocky, and he's going to be a Rocky for quite a while. And he had a fantastic season last year. So I expect big things out of him. Let's take a look at the next guy that we got. Brusdar Graterol. Anything that we could take away from the Dodgers is a win in my book. And this, to me, was a no-brainer. We went out and got Brusdar Graterol, who surprisingly only had 2 other teams bidding for him. One of them being the Dodgers, and the other one being, I believe it was the Yankees. I can't remember the other team, but I want to say it was the Yankees. But we went out and signed a 4-year deal with him. Once again, he's 28 years old. This will bring him to age 32 season. 83 overall B potential. He's going to grow. I don't know how much he's going to grow by. I don't like to look at their overall and their stats meaning. I feel like that's cheating. But he could be our new closer. I think Brusdar Graterol could be our new closer. With his high durability, his pitching clutch being at 92, we need someone reliable for the back end of the rotation, or the back end of the bullpen, and Brusdar Graterol is that guy. Look at what he did with the Dodgers last year. 70 games, a .60 ERA, 2 home runs in 74 innings. If he can even come close to matching that, we are going to have the best closer in baseball. Period. End of story. Do I expect him to do that? I don't know. But I'm cool with investing money trying to figure that out. Next, Aaron Ashby. Like I said in the trades section, we acquired him from the Angels for that piece with Torres. He had a very good season last year for the Angels. We're really lefty heavy in our bullpen, which I'm okay with. Now, of course, Aaron Ashby on a 1-year deal at $4 million. I like Aaron Ashby. I'm very anxious to see what he can do for us. Good control, good pitching clutch, everything that we need. And if we need to, we could put him as a long relief. I think. But chances are that won't happen. Caleb Ferguson makes his return back last year of his contract. He had a step back season last year. Kind of the theme of the Rockies in 2026. Everyone kind of took a step back. If your name wasn't Benny Montgomery, everyone took a step back. But I think he'll bounce back. He didn't really lose a lot of overall between the end of the season and going into this season. I mean, in spring training, he pitched to a 2 ERA. So maybe, just maybe, we can get the Caleb Ferguson that we traded for. And hopefully he could just do better. Really what I want. Chris Flexen is also back with us as well. He's a second middle relief guy. Did very well in the very small bite size that we saw with when we got him in the trade near the trade deadline last year. Fleming back down in the minors, and then we're gonna give Gene Jernigan a shot. I was pretty impressed with what we saw in the 5 games that he was called up in September, that he played in September. I think it was warranted enough to let him have a shot just to see what he can do. He does have an option available, so if he starts to really struggle, then we can always send him down and bring up Flanagan or Fireheisen just to replace him. I do expect Jernigan to be the weakest part of our bullpen, but with all these excellent bullpen guys around him, he should get some nice training in some very important categories. And of course, at closer, like I said, I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to have Brewstar or Crochet be our closer. It's a 50-50 shot. I think I'm leaning toward Brewstar. So Madrid went back down. He's going to start the year in the minors. Not bad. I kind of like what I saw from him, but I still think he needs a little bit of seasoning before he's truly ready. That 100-mile-per-hour fastball is very nice to have in his arsenal, but I need more than that. So he's back down starting in the minors. Catching, not a lot's changed. We still have Kevin Parada. We still have Drew Romo. Sasaki's going to start back down in the minor leagues for now because we just kind of got a log here in our infield, a little dam built up in our infield. And of course, our generational prospect Pablo Juarez that we got in the draft is going to start in Double-A. Long way to go for this guy. I'll probably just update you guys on him as need be. But until then, he's down there in Double-A with Michael Armaz. First base. This is going to be an interesting position. Grant Levine hitting .307 in spring training, earned his spot on the rotation on the opening day roster this season. Now, part of that being he is out of options. He is 27 years old, and I told myself that if we fall out of it this year, we could trade him. He could be a nice trade piece because we still have Nolan Jones. We've got the last year of Ryan McMahon, but we've got some other options we can put there, including Lauren Hirsch, who has been a surprise in the minor leagues last year, and then Nathan Aseo, the guy that we drafted in the 2026 draft, who I do have hopes for. I actually have some hopes for this guy. So keep an eye on Aseo as well. Second base, we went with Andreas Mendez over Vidal Brujan, and it has nothing to do with Brujan's actions last year. To be honest, it was just because Brujan had another option available. He had 2 out of 3. We sent him down. At some point, he'll probably get called back up because you can't keep someone with these numbers down there for long. Mendez is getting a proper opportunity to prove himself. I love the defense he played last year. I love his ability to, kind of hit the ball. He did better. I'll put it that way. 252 is not sparkling by any stretch of the imagination, but that defense that he had is probably going to force him to be a late inning kind of player. So we'll see what Mendez has in store for us. Third base, Ryan McMahon, entering the last year of his contract, $14.6 million is what we owe him. Could we put him on the trade? I'm kind of off with putting him on the trade block now. I think he's shut me up enough to keep him on the team. Somehow managed to swipe 14 bags last year. I don't know how we did it, but I was not responsible for any of those. So, of course, our third baseman going into the year, Ryan McMahon, should not surprise anybody. Nolan Jones, of course, hitting .280 last year. He had a pretty good career year. Struck out a little bit more, walks were a little down, but he did hit more home runs. He did drive more runs in. Slugging was up slightly. On base was roughly the same, along with his average. I will take that with 2 years left on his contract. He's going to be our majority everyday first baseman. Yeah. And of course, Warming Bernabel, same situation with him. He's out of options, so we can't send him down, and I guarantee you somebody will probably claim him if we did put him on waivers. So Bernabel is probably going to play second base for us. So I kind of like having the infield of McMahon at third, Tovar, which there's your thing on Tovar. Not much to say on Tovar, but I look for him to get better at short. Bernabel at second, Nolan Jones at first. We got a pretty nice infield right there, defensively speaking. Then we go to the outfield. Not a lot has changed on the outfield. Like I said before, I was really invested into improving the pitching side of this team. Offensively speaking, we were a pretty good team, being in the top 10 in a lot of offensive categories, maybe excluding a few. But this offense was pretty solid, I think, anyway. We scored the second most amount of runs in the National League, or in the West, I should say. And that speaks a lot for how far we've come. Now, it helps that the Giants and Diamondbacks, based on me going through their roster, is possibly going to be going backwards this year. We'll see. But we got to keep our foot on the throttle and do what we can to try to wrangle in the Dodgers, who are still going to be just as good. But, of course, Ian Happ going to lead the way in left field. Had a good year last year. Chris Bryant, going to figure out a way to get more playing time for him. Still no bites on the trade block for him. So we may be stuck with Chris Bryant for another 2 years, and that's fine. If we are, we'll make it work. We will make it work. There's a lot of good talent down here that in due time will be up. Center field, probably player of the year last year for us, man. Benny Montgomery, everyday center fielder, hands down, no questions asked. 282. He hit 343 in spring training. I think he had 35, 40 at bats, somewhere along in there. I'm looking for Benny Montgomery to, I don't want to say improve, I want to say be consistent. So even if he hits 260, that's just as good, because I want him, look at that, 21 homers for the Rook. I want him to hit 25 this year. That's what I want him to do. But we'll see. We shall see. He's definitely earned his spot with Drew Jones being in AAA as well, and Vernon Zapata AA. There's Cyrus Sharp, the player that we acquired, the second player that we acquired in the Angels deal. Not a lot to talk about with this guy, so there's his card right there. Updates when needed, I guess. And of course, Brett Phillips, backup. Love Brett Phillips. You cannot underestimate the power of the Phillips. So, and then right field, Zach Veen had a okay rookie season, 243. I think he's going to swing the bat a lot better this year. I'm going to estimate he's going to hit 250 to 260, but we'll see. And of course, Julio Ibarra, also in right field. This is going to be a big year for him. This could be the year that decides if we keep him up or if he goes down to the minors. We can't have a guy hitting 245 playing right field every year, especially with this offense. So I want Julio Ibarra to be the guy that has to improve the most this year. That's what I want to see. I'm not saying he has to do great. I'm not saying he has to hit 300. I want to see better hitting, especially with runners in scoring position. He was the third worst player on our team in that category, behind Drew Romo, who doesn't start every day, and I think it was Brujan, but you kind of have to cancel some of that out because Brujan was missing months at a time. So Ibarra, he's got the most to prove this year. Everything was down for him except for strikeouts. That was up. So that's nice. Let's see if we can keep that up. That's it. I wanted to keep this video short, and I know I probably didn't. I'll give you guys a sneak peek of the opening month schedule. We got San Diego. We got the Giants. We're starting off hot. San Diego again. Pirates, Mets, Cubs, Giants again, Twins, Dodgers, Astros. It's going to be a tough first month of the season, with opening day going to be Saturday night at the time. This video will probably be up. By the time you're seeing this video, it'll probably be Thursday. So we're looking at a Saturday night start for opening day in 2027. One more thing to cover, because I just now remembered this. We had to get some new coaches. Some of our coaches retired. Some of their contracts ended. And it was tough to get our coaches back. And I don't think I got any of them back, to be honest. We got a new third base coach in Bob McGrath. We got a new first base coach in Charlie Sharp. Let's see. Hitting coach, Joseph Fink. We got him as our new hitting coach. And we got a new manager in Clifford Hennessy. The manager pool was pretty bare. We're paying him $4 million a season for 2 years. D. Sarcina, our previous manager, went off to another team to be a third base coach. Don't know why. I wish he would have came back to us. I thought he was a solid coach. But regardless, that's not the story. That's not how it goes. So there's our coaching staff for this year. Let me know what you think in the comments down. Give me your prediction for the Rockies. And me, I'm biased. I want us to win 90 games. I want us back up in that category. But if I'm going to be realistic, I'm going to say 88 wins. That's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with 88 wins for the Rockies. That's a 20-game jump from what we did in 2026. But that is just my prediction. Let me know yours. I will see you for opening day. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Don't forget to follow and subscribe and all that good stuff. Come by and say hi in the broadcast. It'd be nice to have you. I'm not a jerk, usually, but it'd be nice to have you guys. But until then, take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and we will see you for 2027 opening day in the Mile High franchise. Go Rockies.